The test mule has been spotted a couple of times, and a few weeks ago, Kia also released one of the first official renders. Although there is a camouflage, a lot of things can be seen. Namely, under that bold and colorful cover, it's super easy to notice a rugged stance, but that is something we already knew about. What we didn't know is that the new pickup will feature quite untypical styling. If you look closer at the rendering picture, you can see a pretty interesting front end design with a rectangular grille that brings that bold flavor to the appearance of the truck. Then, there's an unconventional headlights design, which may have some similarities with those found on a Telluride or even the all-electric EV9, but still has a lot of its own, especially that area that spreads to the sides and connects with that massive black cladding on wheel arches that show nothing but serious off-roading pretensions. That design approach is backed up with an aggressive bumper design that includes a couple of recovery hooks as well. While it's not hard to notice the bumper shape, in the way that it's designed to ensure the best possible approach angle. The teased pickup came with a dual cab design, and while the front end certainly stands out with its untypical design, things seem more common in the back. There, you can see a more conventional design, though digital renders do show a couple of modern touches, including a long horizontal light bar that spreads across the tailgate. Platform and chassis design. As mentioned, the all-new 2025 Kia Tasman will be a genuine pickup truck. And even though the company doesn't have too much experience in making these kinds of vehicles, it does have a couple of body-on-frame vehicles in its portfolio, including an SUV called a Mojave, which is sold on the domestic market. Moreover, through all these years of speculations, many experts believe that this model would simply be called the Mojave pickup, suggesting a close relationship with the aforementioned SUV. However, Kia's management decided on the Tasman, which comes from the Australian island of Tasmania. That's for obvious reasons, considering that the Tasman's primary market will be Australia. The company already announced its plans to sell around 20,000 trucks down under in the first production year, and then gradually increase capacity. Anyway, let's get back to the platform. Many believe that, despite the different name, the platform is still the same as in the case of the Mojave SUV, which essentially means it's derived from Borrego, an SUV that didn't have too much luck in North America and was discontinued 15 years ago. As mentioned, the test mule of the new pickup was spotted on the road a couple of times, and thanks to the dexterous spy photographers, we now have a lot to refer to. First of all, there is the matter of size. At one of the off-road rides, Tasman was tested alongside a Ford Ranger, and that gave the opportunity to compare the two trucks in terms of dimensions. It turns out that, in terms of overall size, the two models are pretty close, though with one notable difference. The Tasman appears to feature a shorter wheelbase, which means it could be more maneuverable than Ranger, though, for some reason, its off-road performance might be compromised for a bit, due to lower approach and departure angles. During the same test ride, we also got the opportunity to take a closer look at the pickup's underbody, and we had a lot of interesting things to see. Namely, Kia's pickup features leaf springs, as you would expect from a proper pickup truck. Although some pickups, like the Nissan Navara, now feature coil springs and independent rear suspension in order to improve ride quality and comfort, leaf springs are still the ultimate solution when it comes to work capabilities and overall toughness. Nevertheless, it seems like Kia had comfort-oriented drivers in mind as well, because the next time we saw a test mule, it had coil springs. So this could mean that Kia is still not sure in which direction to go, or, which is more likely, we could see both variants on offer. In such a scenario, leaf springs would be reserved for more basic variants, while the more refined setup would come with more expensive models, which would also put more focus on interior refinement. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, let's talk about the powertrain options. 2025 Kia Tasman engines. When it comes to powertrain, things are pretty clear in this segment. It's pretty much all about a 4-cylinder turbo diesel, and Kia might have a perfect unit to meet these standards. Of course, that would be a good old 2.2-liter engine, something that Kia and Hyundai engineers have been perfecting for years. This engine comes in a variant with 149 kilowatts or 199 horsepower and 441 newton meters or 325 pound-feet of torque, which seems quite adequate for a pickup of this size and weight. However, in order to take on the class rivals, we might see some additional tuning, considering that both Ranger and HiLux have engines with 500 newton meters of torque. But with or without this boost, the new Kia Tasman is expected to meet benchmark figures for the segment in terms of towing and payload. That would be 3.5 tons of the max towing capacity and 1 ton of the max payload capacity. In any case, it's also worth mentioning that several pickups in the segment are also available with V6 diesel. Well, Kia could easily check this box as well, considering that the Korean market Mojave comes with a 3.0-liter CRDI V6 turbo diesel, with a max output of around 189 kilowatts or 253 horsepower and 560 newton meters or 413 pound-feet of torque. Then, there is the possible petrol version, which could be offered in versions for the Middle East market, for example. That model could come with a familiar 3.8-liter V6 that powers large SUVs like Telluride, but some sources even speculate about Turbo 4 variants, which, to be honest, doesn't sound particularly likely in our opinion. What do you think about that 6-cylinder turbo diesel? Would it be a great way to stand out and draw more ambitious pickup drivers? We would like to hear your opinion, so please don't hesitate to write in the comments. As for the transmission, we can hear voices that suggest a dual-clutch transmission, which would certainly be a unique feature for the segment. Still, that seems too radical to us. So we're pretty sure that the choice would be on a classic automatic gearbox with a torque converter. Once again, we can refer to the Mojave, which uses a modern 8-speed automatic transmission. Of course, 4-wheel drive will be part of the offer too, though base versions will most likely feature rear-wheel drive only. At this point, we're still not sure what kind of 4-wheel drive system will be offered, but we presume some kind of selectable setup will be there, with a low-range gearing as well. With such a drivetrain, we count on strong off-road performance in a dedicated off-road version. That model would come with a few more upgrades, including a locking differential, off-road suspension with increased ground clearance, off-road tires, upgraded underbody protection, and many more. Interior. So far, Kia has been testing a double cab version, but given the segment standards, we are pretty sure that an extended cab version, or maybe even a single cab model, will be on offer. In any case, we are about to see familiar configurations with different levels of comfort and convenience. So it's a good opportunity to speculate about the interior design a bit. Despite a couple of spy shots, we still don't know what the dashboard is going to look like. These shots have shown the use of nice leather and cloth seats, along with a conventional gear lever, but the dash remains covered. Still, if we consider that Kia is new to the segment and that it will need as many tricks as possible to establish a good position on the market, we are convinced that interior quality will be one of those trump cards. Kia has been doing a great job in designing dashboards lately, with attractive aesthetics and nice selections of materials. So this pickup shouldn't be an exception, although the base version would probably be simplified. Higher trim levels, on the other hand, should come equipped very well, and this also includes a generous offer of tech features. The first thing that comes to mind is the curved panel design, which integrates instrument gauges and infotainment screens into one unit and gives that pretty upscale look. Launch date and price. As mentioned, the Australian market, along with domestic, will be the first to receive the new pickup. That is expected to happen later this year, most likely in the last quarter. But soon after, we expect to see arrivals in other markets that were planned, such as the Middle East, Southeast Asia, Africa, etc. In terms of price, details are still unavailable. Still, we expect that the initial versions will be offered as cheaper alternatives to class leaders like HiLux and Ranger, which start at over 45,000 AU if we talk about dual cab models. So let's say that Kia's pickup would cost a few thousand less. What's particularly interesting is that Kia's pickup has been caught testing in North America and California, which suggests that we could see it in this part of the world as well. How Kia is going to do that, considering the chicken tax, it's still unclear. But we presume that the idea is to establish production in this part of the world, which would take a few more years, which means that the US launch probably won't happen so soon. What do you think about the 2025 Kia Tasman? Is this really going to be the toughest truck in the segment? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.